Thank you. Is there any, you understand these community service flights are provide a public service in that people are not required to pay for the service that gets them to their chemotherapy, for example.
Senator, I think everybody lauds the concept of community service flights, specifically for regional Australia. So we recognise the value in that. And at a meeting recently with the Angel Flight principals, we reiterated that there's certainly nobody in the ATSB that is trying to shut Angel Flight down. What we are tasked to do is find out what happened in an accident and why to prevent a recurrence, and that's what it tells me we're supposed to do under the Act.
Sure, so you won't make any recommendations as bold as saying that we should shift these flights across to RPT where people have to pay?
Senator, once again, it's premature to speculate on the outcome because we're still working through the submissions of those people.
The reason I say that is because in most investigations, and I've read a number of your reports, they're all on the website, and
they're all first class.
Yeah, there was one that wasn't, so but it's been redone.
8 years ago, Senator.
Okay,
I've got the second one here if you need
it. I'll be very keen when this comes out to have a look at the focus that you've put on the flight, which is exactly what I think you should do, versus the operations of Angel Flight.
Sure, understood, Senator. Let me say that any recommendation we make will usually be couched in outcome-based phraseology, like the strength controls should be, the controls should be strengthened. And, those recommendations can go to operators or to regulators.
Sure.
And once again, until we work through the submissions, we won't come to a final position in relation to what a recommendation may or may not be.
Now, Mr. Carmody also indicated that, and he's provided some data to this committee about statistics associated with Angel Flight. But he also said that your report would go to some statistics on Angel Flight. A concern has been raised with me that the statistical approach that you've taken may be flawed, in that, for example, you might be comparing private flights across a particular period with CSF flights over a different period. That's not something you would do?
So, Senator, we have, in relation to not only statistics but the analysis of statistics, we've got about 8 PhDs in the organisation. They are very well versed at the methodology in terms of data analysis, as is the manager. So we have manager review, a director review, and of course we have commission review of that analysis. In addition, we've also offered certainly Angel Flight the opportunity to view and criticise that analysis if they think that it is incorrect. We'll certainly look at that in their submission, which I can't comment on because it arrived only I think on Friday.
Sure. In relation to the number of flights, so Mr. Carmody in his analysis suggested he was only using the sector that involved the actual passenger as opposed to positioning flights. Now that seems flawed to me because the position, if one of the issues is pressure on pilots, there's also pressure associated with the positioning. In your analysis, are you including all of the
We've certainly made mention of that in our analysis, and once again, that's subject to feedback from both parties.
Okay. And just in those comparisons, I don't want us to get to a point where the report comes out and we have to go through, some oversight committee
I'm more than happy, Senator. Once that we have received the submissions, when we have analysed the submissions from the directly involved parties, incorporated those into the final version that's been approved by the Commission, I'm more than happy to offer a briefing to the senators.
Yeah, okay, because another concern I might have is that when you compare a typical private pilot's flight with a CSF flight, there may be some more complication involved in in those particular flights. I just wonder how that's drawn out in the statistics.
And once again, Senator, you know, we've made a statement in our analysis in the draft report, which is obviously subject to comment by Angel Flight and by CASA.
Okay.
Right. Senator, your 15 minutes, which is actually 35 minutes, is maybe the only thing that stands between us and working through dinner and going home tonight, or not.
Dinner versus oversight.
How about you take up with Mr Hood tomorrow and have lunch together and continue this very interesting conversation.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, look, I will leave it at that. I just... well, actually, can I just ask Mr Hood to take a question on notice?
Cross with Janet Rice.
She did sponsor me for $100 in the last CEO sleep out for St Vincent de Paul. I'd be happy to take any. This year I'd be happy to take further sponsorships. Thank you, Senator.
Can I ask you, let's assume that your report it comes out, you say in about a month and a half?
So my understanding is an extensive submission received only late last week, so usually would take us around about a month to incorporate any changes that might need to be made in the final report. Then it goes to the Commission for a public approval to release. So at the earliest, I would say that second week of May would be the earliest. It would be around about the 18th, I think.
Whenever our questions on notice due back?
23rd of May is the date.
Which date? 23rd of May.
23rd of May, isn't it? Or 22nd of May.
Okay, so can I ask, and you'll have an option if you haven't released the report at that stage to advance any public interest immunity that you need to.
Sorry, I just missed the question, Senator.
I haven't come to the question. I'm just saying that you'll have the opportunity to advance a public interest immunity if your report hasn't been published and the answers need to come back before that. To go through the current regulation before the House, or before the Senate, and simply indicate which one of if any of the terms or provisions would have changed the outcome of the Mount Gambier accident.
Senator, we'll take that notice to have a look at what we can do in that regard.
Yeah.
But don't admit it. It sits on the record that the CASA have admitted that it would not have.
Well, in a discussion with me and Ms Sharkey MP, they indicated that the motivation for this particular instrument was these flights.
Well, you get together with me and I'll
Sure.
write to Mr Carmody and have him confirm back to me in writing what he told me in the briefing while he sat at the chair beside where you are.
So just the distinction is that maybe he wasn't saying each one of these directly indicated, but he said the motivation for looking at this flowed from these accidents.
Okay, well, I don't know how he can do that. That's a big stretch. All right.